I would never like. I want to be present at the dinner table.
Yeah.
I'm putting my.
Yeah.
Still, human interaction, like face to face, is something like I think people need.
I mean, when you're augmenting your body with technology, though, that's when it's really hard to switch off. I mean, you officially have a personal tracking device implanted in you. There's no getting away from it.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like if we're gonna end up having this brain implant, then there needs to be like some kind of do not disturb mode or something like that. That's you're not waking up 3 in the morning like because someone sends you a message like YouTube video or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Christian, just make sure your mic is turned off because they'll hear your speakers.
I don't have any mic on now.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, there's place and time for everything. I think.
What about making technology remotely accessible? I mean, we're working with Bluetooth and the Internet of Things at WRLDS, so you can snap your fingers, you can bounce the ball, and anything could happen in the future.
That's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it great?
I think so.
Is it great?
Yeah. I mean, the basic of technology is here to help us. I mean, technology should be used as a helping tool. It's not something which should exchange, like you shouldn't be able, shouldn't choose between something, like one or the other. Technology is there to help us and to make our lives easier.
Yeah.
You don't have to right now go to the post office to send a letter. You're just typing an email.
Yeah.
Same thing. You don't have to go across the city to talk to someone for 3 minutes. You just pick up the phone and calling or going on like Google Hangouts or Skype or whatever. Same thing comes with unlocking the doors with your hand. This is just to make our lives easier. But we should still be focused really on what's going on in real life.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
You're replacing flyer bombers with Venue.
Yeah.
You're replacing all the hustlers. You're replacing any necessity for musicians to have friends in real life, actually, because that's why you make friends as a musician, right?
I mean, as a musician, your power is with your fan base.
Yeah.
You need to take good care of the fans, and as much as everything's been done in the means of streaming or distributing music, you have Spotify, you have Apple Music, YouTube, whatever, and that's always been done. The same thing, nothing's been done to the live music, how the bands are booking their shows. Everyone's booking the shows the exactly same way as Beatles did back in the 60s or 50s. So nothing changed in that field. Maybe the only thing what's changed really was the ticket booths went online.
Yeah.
And except that...
Are they your competitors?
Ticket sites.
Yeah.
Not really, because ticket sites are really, they focusing on one single sale. What we're trying to do is to create a community of people who are enjoying live shows. Because what we're trying to tell people is it's a totally different experience when you're out there live, meeting your friends in real life and enjoying the show, enjoying this together. And even if you're going alone, you always having this kind of feeling of people surrounding you, and also they're fans of the same band. You already have people who are connecting with them on some level because they like live music, they like music, they like your band you're going to, and they enjoy this live. And either you can find a new friends or you can going out with friends. And this experience, you can't have this experience sitting at home with your headphones on and listening to Spotify playlists.
Why did you do this in Stockholm? You're from Poland. I've forgotten which city, sorry.
It's a city called Białystok. It's about 30 Swedish miles, or 50 miles outside of, American miles outside of the capital of Poland.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you came here how many years ago?
Well, I mean, like when I was younger, so we were moving back and forth
Oh, it
always.
was a family move.
Yeah.
It was part of your upbringing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then kind of I decided to move to Sweden
Yeah.
after my high school.
Okay.
So yeah, now I've been here for like I moved here permanently like 7 years ago.
7
8.
years ago.
Yeah.
Mm. And how big is your network in Stockholm?
Well, right now I think it's quite big. I mean, the key for me was to attend to all the meetups everywhere. Like
Meetups, as in meetup.com.
Yeah, I started there definitely, and then I went to the meetups at like this events at Support 46, this Stockholm Tech meetup, which I'm actually right now end up working with.
Ah, okay.
So I'm helping
Wait.
kind of co-organizing the monthly meetups and Stockholm Tech Fest.
I see. We attended that. We had Maya our go-to market on the big stage, in the startup stage. Yeah.
Now I remember. Yes, because I'm the guy usually who helps the startups pitching, connect everything, all the gear on the stage, computers and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm miking up everything, everyone, and making sure that everything works perfectly.
Yeah. Okay. So you're really into presenting people.
Yeah, I guess so.
You should be doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done it. Actually.
You have?
Yes.
Why?
When? I love talk to people. Actually.
I see that.
And I love asking questions.
Yeah.
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 That's it.
You were very easy to meet. I remember it was just
Thank you.
like, hey, come on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
It was too easy. Yeah.
I mean, that's. It shouldn't be more difficult than that. I mean, like
Right.
people are overcomplicating, like
Right.
meeting people,
Right.
and interaction between people. It's like, what's the worst can happen? Someone can say no. Same thing like with asking girls out. Like a lot of guys are super insecure about that. It's like, what's the worst thing can happen? If you're polite, if you, I mean, you can speak for yourself. I mean, like how guys are asking you out or something.
Oh, they don't. So yeah, I don't know. But I can talk about music though.
Yeah. Let's switch back to music.
music.
Let's switch back to music. No, it's just this is
Yeah.
what I want to say. It's like people are overcomplicating. They're thinking too much about it, and then they thinking about it. The same thing comes to like they starting a startup.
Yeah.
People are thinking about something too much, and they start to find problems which might appear or not, and that's scares them.
Yeah.
And they end up not doing that. If you just are going with the flow and just like when you think about something and you just give it a try, it might work, might not, but so what's the worst can happen?
You when we met, you said you're going to try change the future of music tech, and I
Yes.
said there is no try, only do. You know, I was being Yoda, but what are you going to try fix with Venue?
Well, we're gonna try to fix the way how the booking agencies basically are treating the middle-sized artists, because here comes
What is middle-sized?
middle size is like we're saying that this is already like quite well-established artists. They have some sort of followers, some amount of followers, so
Yeah.
both on Spotify, YouTube, across all the social media.
What's the? Do you have a number, a reference point?
Well, I'm sorry. Depends. It varies. Depends on the country. In Sweden, we're looking for the artists which actually have 2,000 right now at the moment, 2,000, 5,000 followers, let's say, on social media, and also the type of followers, because that's also important. If you're for us, because we're making something from taking something from internet and making this in real life. So for us, its audience needs to be focused on, let's say, in Sweden or in some countries we actually work with. But let's say in Germany, that number is a little bit higher, just because there's much more people. And we looking for like those kind of hardcore fans who actually can invest a little bit of, I mean, we're talking about money like 10 euros for a single price of the ticket. And they can invest this into the bands. And either, I mean, they're not investing really, because if the show is not happening, they're getting full money return. So you just basically, if they're believing in the band, they really want to see the band, they can just buy this ticket. And if the show is not happening, they're getting all the money back. So they're not risking anything. The whole idea of the platform is that we want to minimize the risk for everyone, both for the fans, artists, venue owners, and make this, because also this shouldn't be that difficult. Because right now, artists basically, if you're an artist and you want to play somewhere, you're going to the person responsible for booking at this particular venue and saying like, "Hi, I'm an artist. You're doing your introduction, and then I would love to play here at your venue." And they were saying like, "Sorry, I don't know you. I don't know if you're gonna sell one ticket or you're gonna sell out full house, but it's a risk for me because I need to close down doors. I need to start selling tickets, employ people to bartenders, guards, and stuff like that. And that's the cost for me. I don't know if I'm gonna get return on my investment. So sorry about now. But you can rent the whole place, and for money, like you're putting down the money, and you can rent the place for the night." And usually, these artists don't have that kind of money to rent the whole place. And also, then they will be actually shooting in the dark because they don't know if they're gonna sell. What we're doing is we're proving to the venue owners that there is fan base who wants to see them, and they're so committed they already bought the tickets to the show. It's not yet actually announced or it's not yet booked.
Yeah.
So it's showing that artists has this kind of force. They have this power with the fans to do it.
Yeah. But it's about cash flow. I guess you have to prove the cash flow
Exactly.
is there in order to justify the gig.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a problem you want solved in the music industry, Christian?
Well, I think one of the biggest issues, this is a huge issue, I think, because getting out and play is a valuable experience for any artist. You need to be on the stage. You need to be in front of real people. That's super important. And not being able to do that until you become big is a little bit of an issue. One of the things that we're looking to solve as well right now is the issue what you're kind of doing is crowdsourcing, crowdfunding shows, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So one of the ideas that we're working on is that there's an issue in the music industry is that you work, for I don't know how long. Maybe you work for 2 years. Take Daft Punk as an example, Random Access Memories, to make a great album. The problem is most people can't do that, and that the money comes after you have music. Again, kind of the same problem. So what we're working a little bit on is trying to live stream music creation and working with virtual reality mostly to make music creation something that is fun to watch, something that you want to experience the whole journey.
Yes.
So that they can build an audience as they are making music, not only when the music is done. Because often the most interesting things is actually right there in making really great music. If you're only getting paid, a week, like say when it's done, you don't have the incentive to spend that time and making music you love.
Exactly.
Because you just need to poop another song out, and your record label is on your ass, and you need to get that done, and you're going to be like, oh, whatever. And you don't have those 2 years to make that awesome, great album that you love, sitting with all of these details. But those details
Exactly.
are fun to watch. So that's a part of what we're actually trying to use the studio for, is experimenting with this sort of music live stream and how to make that fun to watch.
That's cool.
So maybe there's a lot, we can talk more later.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
things we can connect here.
And what do you guys think? If you're watching, please throw us a suggestion for music tech improvement that you want.
Yes,
Because-
it's quite interesting. Yeah, go on.
Because also like the music industry itself, they experience right now a huge change, especially after in early 2000s, where everyone starts like all the music moved online, and Spotify solved and the way like saved the music industry in some way.
Oh, you should say that again slowly when we zoom in on you.
Oh. Spotify saved music industry in one way, but I'm not saying that saved music industry, not the artist.
Yeah, I mean it saved the industry.
Industry,
That's what
because the sales of the records back in the early 2000s dropped drastically thanks to like sites like Pirate Bay, Napster, because when people discovered that they don't have to buy the records, they can just download it online. Why should I pay for something which is available for free? And Spotify came up with the idea that they can stream the music. So they had a huge challenge to make streaming music more appealing and still paying for that, more appealing than downloading the music. And I think they solved this really great. The only problem is right now is much harder for the artist actually to make money out of the music they're making. Because right now is you're getting what, I think 0.08 euro cents per stream, which if you're a small middle-sized artist, it's nothing. You're getting like hundreds crowns, like 25 euros, 10 euros for a streaming of one song, which is, even if you stream good.
Yeah.
And that also half goes to your record label. If you're not using like the those kind of new digital record labels like Amuse or DistroKid or a Spin Up or something like that. If you're going still with traditional indie or like big labels, you're still like giving half of your money to the label.
Yeah, and you need all of that money to get anywhere. And this is probably that hasn't changed. The money flow is flowing in different ways. Yeah. But the basic concept that you make music, then you can get paid, provided that I help you with $5 million, so that we can push it onto the largest distribution chains and make sure that you land up in the top playlists.
Yeah.
That way, that hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed really. I mean, radio is dead, and it's been dead for quite some time. Now the Spotify playlist, this is the new radio. But right now there's emerging those new companies such as Amuse, for instance, or Cobalt, that try to disrupt somehow this music industry, how the artists actually are signing up to the labels, and they redefine what the label is really. Because let's say if you're releasing your music through Amuse, you're still keeping 100% of your rights to your music. You're not giving up those rights to the label. And you're getting the money from the streaming directly to your account. The only thing what they're doing is they licensing your music, and they're giving a 50-50 split between you and them. So that's pretty good. That's really, I think they're gonna challenge the music industry in that way, that new artists are more, the more likely they're gonna sign to them than the big labels, because I think like more experienced artists, they quickly learn that signing with the big label is basically a death warrant for your music, because if you're not big, they're gonna sign you up on a label. Let's say those, I don't want to mention the big labels, but those big labels are gonna sign you up, but then they're not gonna do much with you. They're gonna let you just dust into their like roster the artist. They're gonna. Yeah.
You mentioned Spotify earlier before when you said that a lot of developers are getting better money there.
Yes,
how do you draw the comparison?
Well, I mean, Spotify always was focused really highly on tech, and what they try to do is always to build this kind of big power tech house. Which they did, and there's multiple floors at the HQ in Stockholm. There's multiple floors with the only developers at Spotify, and in comparison, let's say to Venue, because we trying to be more closer to the artist than actually to tech. Tech is super important for us because this is the way how we're delivering our service. However, we want to still be super in focus with the artist, with the music. We want to be able to invite artists to our place and to our office and talk to them, to make shows and to really interact with people. So still at the same time as building the platform, which is super important.
Which is more important? What is going to make your launch on Wednesday, October 10,
a
hit?
For those of you who live in Stockholm, you're going to definitely see that on the streets of Stockholm on Wednesday. It's going to be a small surprise for all of you. Or you can also follow us on our social media, which we're going to also cover that there. Yeah. Basically, we'll do some guerrilla marketing on the streets of Stockholm.
Okay, and you're saying that music to Venue is what technology is to Spotify?
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions, Christian, before we
Oh,
announce today's winner?
I have like a billion of questions. We can go into so much depth. I really want to stay more in the biohacking, and I have one particular because obviously I am not sure if we have talked about it, but I'm a huge fan of blockchain, and you know been studying that for quite some time now, and I think. One of the things that is, because we talked about data security,
Yes.
right, which is a huge issue when you start to have this merge between your biological being.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we obviously work with AR, so it's sooner or later we see technology not only in devices, right, but so devices that are completely connected to you. And that's what worlds do and what we were hoping to push, right? But seeing that that kind of technology issue there in a way where information security is kind of exploding, it becomes a big issue. How do you see that blockchain, for instance, could help to solve or help solving some issues with your biodata, for instance?
Well, I mean, depends. Let's say if we're talking about let's say some device which is implemented into your body, which reads your, let's say, health, records your kind of health data of your, let's say, heart rate, blood pressure, or I don't know, maybe some kind of enzymes or substance which actually you have in your body, and it needs to be stored somewhere. Let's say I don't know how it's gonna work. It's either you are uploading this to some device, let's say to your phone, and then it sends out, let's say, to your doctor, or it sends out to somewhere. You need to do this in some way. And I think this transmission from between, let's say, the device in your body to, let's say, your phone, or then to your doctor's office, this needs to be really secured. And I think in that case, blockchain can really help securing that.
Because one of the things I'm seeing here, and it's really about, say that you're going to a doctor, and there's like two big issues that we're having. One is that data, for some stupid reason, the government didn't decide on a standard format for, say, health data, for, say, how a company should have their financial data, for, say, how the police should do their reports. So now you have like 50 different systems with different data that are going all over the place. I mean, that's one issue with data. But you, like, if you have an implant, you kind of want to go to the doctor. You want to be able to go like, I'm me. You know that because I have an implant that knows that I'm me because it's reading my DNA. And ideally, that would be connected to a blockchain, information. So you just unlock for the doctor your personal medical record. And it's your data. It's not owned by anyone else, and you give people access to that data should they want to. And the doctor can go like, oh, well, without it, you could say no, but he may say, well, without it, I can't treat you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about it, like you're going to doctor's office to see the doctor. And instead of like right now, like the regular like routine is like you're sitting down in doctor's office and you explain what's wrong with you. What do you think? Like, well, I have pain here, or like I feel like this is not right, or something like that. And instead of that, you're like just saying hello and just placing your chip somewhere, like on some kind of reader, and the doctor already like can see the record. And like instead of like sending, let's say, your blood test to the lab or doing some other like starts to examine you. He knows already like what's wrong with you. And it's like, let's say there's a program who reads out all your records and highlights only the things which actually are wrong with you. Let's say you have high cholesterol, you have high blood pressure or something like that. And I'll already highlights this. And doctor directly, I mean, like even we won't need the doctors for that. There will be a program who can actually highlight those things, and based on that, prescribe you right medications. So you don't even have to go to the doctor. You're just reading
At least in very many cases.
Exactly.
You wouldn't really need it, hypothetically.
Because if you're, and maybe in really extreme cases, you will need still a doctor. But for like things like flu or like, I don't know, like high blood pressure, you need a new medicine. Like you don't know even if you have high blood pressure. That highlights it, sends to this program, which is like in some way government run or some, I mean, like somehow secure that it could be trusted.
This is really interesting, because I think there is a combination here. Like if we think about what would the ultimate sensor that you would have in you be able to do, one part of it is obviously making sure basic biodata, you know, like, okay, am I healthy? Do I have something? What is my issues? And the other thing is just make life super simple, because this is what you were raising for. I mean, open your door, open this, maybe even, you know, with all of those stuff, right? But it's also beyond that, kind of doing things like it will automatically allow people to access your blockchain with your data and upload data to there, so that you can, if I want to sell you my house, I just, you know, go to my blockchain and I sell you my house. And what it does is it's going to check that are you really you?
Yeah.
Then I will give you your private key.
Yeah.
And I will accept this transfer, or we can do this transfer. So you don't even need to have a complicated private key. Yeah. The private key is actually something that only your device knows and only is in your device, provided you are you.
Exactly.
Right? Which gives so much security on top of that, because there's really, blockchain is inherently extremely secure until we get to quantum computing, which is completely, well, then we'll have quantum encryptation, so it's going to be fine. But just that combination I find so interesting, because there's so much. So the question here is, what would you like to see in like this kind of first version of your own embedded device that does these sort of things?
Well, I mean, first of all, like I would love to have that I can identify myself using this device. So Sweden, I think, is like really pro virtual signature and stuff. You don't have to go to the tax office. You don't have to go anywhere. You can do everything online because you have this electronic signature, which you can identify yourself online. I would love to see that going, that, let's say my device says that, okay, so first of all, I have my driving license there. I have those kind of categories on my driving license. I own this, that. And basically, I don't have to carry my wallet with me. Or I don't have to carry basically anything with me, because everything what I have is like what I need to have. I have already in this is my device, which is inside of my body. And I'm going to the bank, to the doctor or whatever, and can help me to, first of all, tell me what's wrong with, let's say with the case going to the doctor, can tell me what's wrong with me. And let's say, tell the doctor, like the program, that's, let's say, okay, so I have high pressure, like blood pressure. Here's some medications, and I'm just going directly to the drugstore, picking up my medications. Or something like that.
And what are the biggest things that we would say? What's the biggest thing that is stopping stuff like? And I mean, when you say also going to the bank, I mean, in theory, you could go and just pay, right? All data should be able to be unlocked and this lot. But what would you say is the biggest things that are in the way of this?
In the way of this, I think regulations, most of it, and also like if the people are ready for it, because it's one thing that, let's say. Now there's new generations coming, which already grew up in a way that's basically grew up with the iPhone glued to their hands. But also still we need to take care of the people who are also from the previous generations, maybe are not so willing to switch to those kind of virtual worlds, or like those kind of means of help.
But does it have to be a hard switch in turn? I mean, couldn't it be that you still are allowed to use some of your old systems?
I think so. I think it's like, especially since it's gonna be the first one, is gonna be kind of beta. So it still should be. You should be able to have doing this old way. You should have the choice. Either you want to have it or not. And as I spoke with a few people, I realized that we should have always the choice to either have the implants or not. We can't switch totally and abandon everything. Like newborn babies, we shouldn't like just directly put the implants inside of them.
Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly.
We can do this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because that is basically the nightmare of most of the people. I mean, even my co-founder, who's like huge kind of tech geek, and he buys always like he checks up new phones and also like rides electric scooters and stuff like that. He's always pro tech, but he would say like he would never like put implants inside of his body, because that would be a violation of everything what actually humanity stands for.
Well,
so
that's taking it a really long philosophical, like a far away and ethical point. But
exactly.
There is something real here, and also kind of going a little bit back to blockchain. One of my worries here is that all of a sudden, I mean, I already have all of this data, and I'm not hiding online, right? And I work with marketing, so I know exactly how easy it is to get every single detail about everyone. Yeah. And what's even worse is how easy it is for me to find out what makes someone tick. Right, online, to know exactly who to target and so on to get something to happen. Now, that's not something that we do or want to do, but learning about it is really kind of an eye-opener in terms of how easy we are to manipulate. And as we're now, all of a sudden, you know, the moment we start to connect this device with anything, already people are walking around with
smartwatches
with smartwatches that is, you know, you can say, that's safe. It's not safe. Our data is not safe.
No,
it isn't safe.
But also, this is the point. Like everyone is like right now. There is a huge kind of discussion around Facebook, because Facebook is being hacked and all the data escape. But also, in the first place, you need to when I'm creating a social media, when I'm creating any profile online, I'm thinking like, if I'm okay, like I know that someone's gonna see this what I'm putting down, like this filling forms, and I know that someone at the end someone's gonna see it. If I'm okay with sharing this information with anyone, like some stranger, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the same thing like with the pictures. Like, don't post the pictures on social media which you don't want anyone to see, because that's basically for like. That's kind of hypocrite, because like social media is means to be for everyone to access, and like maybe not everyone to access, but you willingly uploading some pictures on a platform where you're hoping that someone's going to see it, and then you're getting angry on someone who actually saw it, because because it's used word like hacking, and it's like, okay, someone saw my picture, and like not from my friends, but then again it's like you uploaded this yourself. You shouldn't upload this if you didn't want anyone to see it.
No, but it's also beyond that to a certain extent, right? Every single photo you take on your phone, don't take it.
Exactly.
You know,
yes.
Because at the moment you've taken that photo, someone can actually get that out of there.
Exactly.
And you need to be really aware of this, that's possible. And it is going to happen at some point, you know. And I think, now, the good thing about that is that it also internet kind of shows everything human. And we are not that sensitive anymore to shit that might happen. If someone goes, you know, I'm going to post a picture of your dick, I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, like,
exactly. I mean, like, I already sent it to like 15 people, so like, go ahead. Maybe I'm going to get some hits on Tinder. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can find almost everything about me online, and I don't really care. But a lot of people do, and a lot of people seem to never really have had that realization. And there is a real issue when it comes to, I mean, you can already find out where someone is. I mean, that's fairly easy. You're using your smartphone, stop doing that.
Exactly.
If you don't want to, you know. But with stuff implanted, there is so much more data that could actually be used that we probably don't want out there. And there is like a real issue with this beyond social media and stuff, but also including it, is that just thinking about the ideal world would be that this data belongs to you.
Exactly.
Always. And it's always in your own database. If Facebook wants certain data, it can request to access certain data.
Yeah.
And then the moment you don't want to allow it to see certain data, you can disallow it from seeing certain data.
Yeah, but
and they would copy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Internet works that way.
Yeah.
But for the big companies, at least, I mean, you'd still have to be careful what you accept to read your data. Yeah. But for big companies like Facebook, you could make laws that means that you're not allowed to hold copies on your servers.
Yeah.
So that it's not actually, then other people could obviously go in and copy your data. I mean, that's going to happen, but
Yeah.
at least you could control these really big companies from owning and controlling your data, because they start to control every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Look also at BankID. I mean, that's a more serious
Yeah.
issue,
Yeah.
right? Which holds all of your transactional details today, and everything that you're doing. This data is incredible. This is real sensitive data.
That's super sensitive. Because it's no matter if you're signing up for which is like seeing a doctor through the app, or you're taking a loan, or you signing up like your tax results or whatever. It's like they know everything what you're doing online, which actually is super serious, because using just bank ID just to sign up some really serious documents, like where you really they need to verify that it's you.
Yeah.
So at every single point, like they can see what you've been doing, like either if you are and hackers can use this really in really kind of scary way. I mean, let's say if you're paying for someone, like you have I don't know, like second house or like something like that, they can see it.
Yeah.
And they know where your money is going. And same thing like with government. I mean, government has access to your bank account, to basically everything.
Yeah, but exactly, I would say the biggest issue is actually and now BankID is a private corporate company, but there's a huge issue with what the government can do with this type of data, and we can't really necessarily be sure that this data ain't leaking, and that's why you really kind of want to have this data where on your database, where it's safe, it's encrypted, and you have control over it. And you want to create a system that is so that, yes, people can read that data without you allowing it, provided they have a court order, right?
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that all of this could be built upon a blockchain. And I think the combination of these two things really can mean that we also can take back certain a lot of data, basically, but a lot of things that we should have owned in the first place, and that should absolutely never be the government's personal data bank.
Exactly.
Right?
No.
Or big corporations' personal data bank.
I'm here. I'm with you. It's just once you're allowing someone to see your data, you have actually, that they can copy it, they can record it in some way. So even if you're gonna stop sharing this data with some company or some person, at some point, you don't know if they haven't copied it. And
Absolutely. There are some small ways you could actually kind of. You could obviously build spiders.
Yeah.
That looks for these sort of data and checks databases. Goes through data to find illegal copies of potential data. But I actually think, from a government's perspective, if they did copy it, and it did come out, and these things tend to come out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Or if a big company did copy it, and it did come out, it would be a huge, huge scandal, because it's now illegal.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it would put at least bigger pressure. But you're absolutely right. You'd still have to be goddamn careful when you share data.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking there'll be some program or some company who's gonna try to, let's say you share a little bit of that data with that company, a little bit of that the other type of data with the other company, and I bet that there will be a company who's gonna try to puzzle everything together and build this kind of start to creating the copy of your server with personal informations into something else, which is going to be then sold on the black markets.
Yeah, I think a lot of those things would basically, to a certain extent, those parts of what is happening today is going to happen on the black market. I don't think there is no real way to get around it, but this is absolutely a way to at least make sure that you own it in the first place. And that I think is a little bit of a legal issue right now. And our laws is not going to help, because it's essentially an issue with how we built internet, and And I think we have a possibility right now to build it in a better way. And it's really cool to see how that could be connected with wearable, like biohacking as well, to really provide services that are helpful.
Yeah. But also at the same point, I'm always thinking, like, first of all, I think like we, as both me and you, and basically anyone like walking on the streets, they are too boring for any kind of like big companies or like governments to hack into. Like we don't doing anything like so important that's actually it's worthy of hacking into our personal like database.
Not right now.
Not right now. No,
and what I mean is that not necessarily that you and me are going to do awesome things that they're going to be interested in. What I mean is it really depends on the government.
I mean,
like if you get a government that is anti-democratic at its nature, and they want to find out everyone that has a political centrist view, all of a sudden, we can be far out at one side. I mean, they can do that.
Yeah, right? I mean, there was like even like from House of Cards straight taken from House of Cards, like when there was I don't know if you've seen the House of Cards, but there was like this one season when there were a election, and there was some program who could track people's like behavior on social media and see if they're leaning out towards the right or left wing. And they could basically attack and approach those people, like either lean towards the left or right, or like try to persuade them to lean the other way. And that could be used today already. And
it has been.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, exactly.
Or something very similar, right?
And same thing. Like Facebook is right now is doing exactly that. I mean, like they're using Facebook for political purposes.
Yeah, and it's working, and that's what I think is something that we have to. I don't think that's ever with the information age. It's just going to be like that, and also, human beings are prone to fear. This is a very deep fear and stress are very important feelings to us. I mean, it comes from being chased by bears. We should try to avoid that shit.
Yeah.
So you're feeling stressed. And I studied this at some depth, neurobiology, that importance of having positive reinforcements. And the ratio is about 3-to-1. For every negative kind of news or input you get during a day, you need actually 3 positives to even start to balance that out.
Yeah.
So that's it's really hard to change that. We just have to become more aware of it, probably.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think like, as the technology, it doesn't matter in which field, but as technology progresses and like the technology can offer us more and more, I think we should rethink all the laws and all the things which actually are protecting and govern us today, and try to redefine this. Because I think the biggest problem right now is that actually law enforcement cannot keep up with the speed how technology evolves. It's a perfect example is, let's say, in Stockholm, you have those electric bikes, scooters, skateboards, whatever, and it's still not regulated. It emerged like this year, and so like I own like this electric skateboard, and which actually can reach the speeds of like 25 miles per hour, and it's still not regulated. I can go down like on a bike lane like 25 miles per hour. No one can stop. Police pulled over me 4 times this season, and they couldn't. Their hands were tied up, and they couldn't do anything because there's no law which actually forbids me to like go that fast on the skateboards on the bike lane, for instance. And I bet that next year there will be some laws, but it's like already we have problem today with that, and there's no law actually governing you as a citizen. Let's say you are on a regular bike, there's no law like protecting you against someone like me going on a skateboard with 25 miles per hour on a bike lane. So that's the thing, that usually like the law is not catching up with the development of technology.
But isn't that a good thing?
I mean, it's a good and bad thing. I mean, I think like it gives us more freedom, but also like people tend to overuse this freedom in many ways into their benefits, and And sometimes it's also even like damaging for the companies, because if the company is really, let's say, startup which is doing something so new that there is no law governing this, and they're building a whole business around it, and next year there comes out the new like resolution to something, and basically forbids this whole company to exist, that also can be really damaging at the same time.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, it's really interesting. And one perhaps final question on this kind of futuristic a little bit subject. If you would like take 10 years from now and describe that sort of change, and let it be focused on what you would hope would be the case, you know, in that sort of world.
I mean, in 10 years is a really long time when it comes to the technology. I think that's definitely like the wearables and actually the implants are they're gonna be much more popular. I doubt really that everyone will have it, but I think like they're gonna be much more popular. You will be able to do much more stuff with that. At the same time as I think like the computers as we know today, they're gonna become obsolete because they're gonna shrink in the size of the cell phone. Everything what you can do, and on the streets maybe like it's gonna look the same or pretty much the same. And it's not gonna be something like from Back to the Future, like flying cars. I really highly doubt that. But I think when it comes to technology, it's gonna be much more common to have implants, and we'll be able to, for instance, do some stuff like we discussed today. Go to the doctor and just scan your implants, and the doctor will directly know what's wrong with you. You won't have to wait for results from the lab for like days or weeks. You're just gonna get it immediately because you have all the data in your body. It just there needs to be a program which actually can read that data, and there you have already results and already like diagnosed results. So I think that's in 10 years that's really possible that this can happen. Maybe not the full brain implant where you can watch movies with when you're closing your eyes, but I think like some kind of biohacking which actually can read your health data and kind of and send it out to some reader which actually can translate this into something diagnosed. That could be very possible in 10 years.
Well, there you go. I think worlds should start building firmware for humanoids.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, we can definitely build the hardware. You know,
yeah.
Seriously,
yeah.
we could.
The human is the hardware.
Well, the.
Oh, you mean
chips.
the chips inside?
Yeah. I think that's really the future. I think like that's gonna be the last point before we actually those all implants are gonna be the last kind of thing before actually humans are gonna. Basically, real life is gonna become something which is unnecessary in a way, because if you can all thing what you see, what you feel, the touch and everything, it's your brain tells you. If the thing that I'm sitting right now in this chair, it's my brain tells me that I'm doing that because it reads all the receptors like all the nerves and everything. If you can mimic everything the same thing in your brain, it won't be able to tell apart like the real life from the virtual life. So I think that the chips and those implants are gonna be the last thing before we're gonna fully emerge into like the virtual reality.
Well, I'm gonna bring us back a few decades. I mean, I'm looking forward to the imminent threat that is ahead of us.
It's gonna happen.
So I'm sorry to be Debbie Downer and change the subject, but I wanted to give out the prize, the World's Ball, for those of you who have been commenting and asking questions. We had 3 people comment, and I'm going to assign them to us. So you're going to be Robert, I'm going to be Thomas, and you're going to be Andre. And we're going to decide who wins the World's Ball through an analog convention, which I call scissors, paper, rock.
Oh!
Remember?
Oh, going old school.
Oh, yeah.
We
are a tech show.
Yeah.
We are a tech show, and we are thinking about the future retrospectively. So, Robert... Andre. Thomas. Ready? Oh, you. Okay. Who are you?
Andre.
Andre. Okay, Andre.
No, wait, how did that work? I had
He just
a bad-
wait. He
No, actually,
I
that's you.
You?
I cancelled you, but
Yeah,
he
this
cancelled
is
me.
equal.
But all at the same
Oh
time.
damn
yeah.
it! Okay, one more time. One more time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Okay.
Better.
So
Andre.
Andre, congratulations! You
Congrats,
have won
man.
a World's Ball.
Yeah.
Woo!
Nice.
We'll I will message you on Facebook very shortly, and we'll get the ball over to you. And thank you to Thomas and Robert, of course, for posting questions and
And
comments.
thanks so much for those who stayed despite of the crash. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
Thanks so much.
But
Yeah.
it happens, and we're
I
still
ho-
really exploring a lot of technical weirdness here because we are a tech show, so we need to kind of push the envelope at times.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope it was worth waiting.
Exactly. And of course, I've been covering the URL this whole time, but venue.show.
Venue.show on Wednesday.
Yeah, but there's already stuff on the website right now. Like,
There's like
There's-
prototype, which we're gonna remove, and on Wednesday, and we're gonna put the proper platform. So this is basically what right now when you're going to venue.show, what you can see is basically the prototype, which shows the basic functions, but there will be much more to come on Wednesday. It's gonna be totally redesigned, rebuilt platform.
awesome. So tune in on Wednesday. Really looking forward to it. Any final words, Christian, before we peace out?
Not really. Just remember to keep on check out World TV. We'll be doing this every Friday. So every Friday at 3 Swedish time.
Awesome.
Keep checking it out and come with your ideas. It's really helpful. Whatever it is that you have. I mean, we right now it's an interview format, but we really hope to bring in the audience more into this. Obviously, there will be edited versions of this for you because we wanted this to take time and we want to be able to go into detail with people and talk a little bit about philosophy. Give us your ideas, give us your suggestions. And if you have something fun or interesting to talk to or are in the vicinity, don't be afraid to contact us. Maybe we could, host you on our episode, or maybe we could even have you come in through Skype. That's something that's also work, or whatever, Discord works as well, actually, just right into the stream. So that's something we'd love to set up with you guys if you're interested. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I'll see you next Friday.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Really interesting and really good to talk about. I love that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right.
good.
Thank you guys for watching.